Hello everyone, this is ICBs here and today we're going to be talking about Netflix's live action Avatar The Last Airbender. And well, I haven't watched the full series yet, I've only watched the first 2 episodes, so I'm going to be talking about those episodes only. So yeah, let's dive into it. And I'm going to start off by saying that this show is way better than I expected, but I don't think that's a good thing to say because I had really low expectations from this show considering the statements from the creators of the show that were coming out recently. They had mentioned that they wanted to target mature audiences and they wanted to do mature things in this show, whatever that means. Now they did say that they might do more of that in the second season of this show, so they are going to tone it down for the first one. So at least for the first 2 episodes they haven't done anything, I would say, mature. And the thing that really got my expectations really low was that the original creators that were on board for this production, they left because they were, and I'm going to quote, creative differences, and that is never a good thing. It just means that the original creators were there, they didn't like what directors or the writers were doing to their property and they left. That's what creative differences means, and that's never a good sign. So yeah, that had really set my expectations low. And the other thing that the writers and the directors, whatever they were saying that they wanted to do their own thing for this show, and they did do some of that, and I'm going to talk about that. So I can't talk about much because again I've watched only the first 2 episodes. So the show does starts with a bit of a change. It does starts with a random earthbender running in the fire kingdom because he wants to deliver a message to his earth kingdom, to his earth king, about Fire Nation that's going to attack everyone. And it was just a generic Hollywood sequence. I don't know if that was in the original series. It's been a long time since I watched the original series, so I'm pretty sure that it wasn't there. But yeah, that scene felt really unnecessary. Like you didn't need to set up that whole exposition that Fire Nation attacked everything. Like you don't need to do that because everyone knows Fire Nation bad, Fire Nation attack everyone. So yeah, you don't need to get into that. Another change that I noticed that they did was that Aang can now fly. Like I know that Aang could fly in the original cartoon series, but he could only do that with his glider. I don't think he could have done that without his glider. He couldn't have flown. Like again, it's been a long time since I've watched the series, and I'm pretty sure that Aang can't fly without his glider. He needs it to fly, and they just changed it. It just makes Aang seem like a really powerful kid. I think in the original cartoon series, Aang wasn't that great of an airbender. Yes, he was really good, but I wouldn't say that he was like a genius master of airbending. He was just good, really good at it. He just had fun with airbending. But in the show, they kind of made him out to be a really genius guy. I mean, Aang is a genius. Like he's supposed to be the avatar. He's supposed to master all 4 elements. But I think in the beginning, at the very least, Aang wasn't that, I would say, a genius, or he wasn't a master of airbending, that he could just fly without airbending. That just makes Aang feel really powerful. And if we're going to be talking about the changes that the directors and the writers made for this show, I don't think they were good. I don't think that the changes that they made for this show for so far have enhanced the quality. In fact, it detracts it. The only thing that makes this show appealing is that when it's following the source material, that's when it's enjoyable. Whenever they do something that's their own thing, I feel like a bit, icky feeling, like it's not good. It's not doing their job. It's not enhancing the quality. In fact, it detracts it. I don't think that doing their own thing is a bad thing. Sure, if they want to do their own thing, sure, why not? Go ahead, do it. But most of the things that they, and most of the changes that they made for this show, I don't think they enhanced the quality. It just made it worse, for me at least. So far, I would say that this show is definitely good. Like it's far better than the 2010 movie. I mean, it truly shows that they spent a lot of time trying to flesh out the world, the environments, They look amazing. The CGI is amazing for the most part, and so is the fighting choreography mixed with the element bending. One thing that I absolutely hate about this series is the dialogues. They are, and I use this word a lot in my videos, horrendous. The dialogues are absolutely horrendous because people would be standing there explaining their backstories and their motivations, and there was this one scene where Aang was standing next to Appa and he was talking talking about his motivations like, oh my god, Appa, I am a kid, now I am the avatar, I don't want to be the avatar, I have responsibilities now, I don't want to have responsibilities because I am a kid and kids like to have fun. Like that is so bad, it's robotic, and no one talks like that. No human being would talk like that. It just like it was one of the laziest way to show the motivations of the characters. In fact, when I watched the original cartoons, I knew that Aang wanted to like run away from his responsibilities, or he was like reluctant about it, but the original show was very subtle when it came to showing that side of it. But in this show, Aang just stands there and talks about his motivations, and so does literally any other character. Another blatant example of this would be Zuko. Like he would just stand there in his ship saying like, my father told me to go catch the avatar 3 years ago, and thus I am catching the avatar in this Arctic Ocean where I am collecting the avatar because my father told me to 3 years ago. Did I mention that my father told me to capture avatar precisely 3 years ago? Like it's that kind of a bad dialogue. Yeah, the dialogues, it feels like they have to kind of skip a lot of things and they have to rush. So this part of like the dialogues feels like very reminiscent of the first movie, like the 2010 movie. It feels like that, like it reminds me of that. I'm not sure that if I can say that the people who have never watched the original Avatar would watch it and enjoy it as much as I am enjoying it. And yes, I am saying that I'm enjoying it because I love this franchise, and watching it on the big screen is really great for me because I love it, you know. But I can't say that other people who haven't watched the original series would enjoy it as much. So I would suggest just watch the original cartoon, like it's really good, so do that instead. Well, with that said, this is it for this video. I will go and finish watching the series and make another review video next week. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and as always, it's time for a goodbye.